I'm in the big leagues, told her don't miss me. Ballin' like Houston, ayy, feeling like Whitney. I need a bag, bruh, send it through quickly. I'm making his dog, like I'm in the big leagues. Told him that I gotta go, dog.
Welcome back to CED Part 2, Cannabis Entrepreneurial Dialogue. I am your co-host, Steven Contreras, here with my boy Danny and Anthony with HAYDAR. Let's get back into Part 2 of our episode. What would you recommend is the proper, for your product, a proper drag time?
A proper
What's a drag?
So like the drag of a hit. So like, you know, people can do blinkers where they hit it until the battery stops. But no one usually recommends that. But I typically take like a 3-second pull. So I'm like, I hit the pen or I just inhale and then it's 3 seconds and then I'm good. I don't like to go any further because then I'm just, in my mind, I'm just heating up all this other concentrate that doesn't need to be heated up.
Yep.
So I'm
I mean, that's kind of it right there, right? What I would say is the answer would have to be described on or given to the product, right? So if it's rosin, for example, for mine, I would say please don't fucking blink these pens, right? Because you're gonna blame me later for the fact that those things happen. You're burning all this excess rosin, and then you're like, why is this happening? Well, because you're blinking it, bro. Like, don't do that, right? That's what I kind of love about rosin. Rosin is not a beer; it's a cognac. It's a, you know what I mean? This is an experience. It's for you to wash it around, to smell it, to do your palate. Like, treat it that way. It's not like $60 to $80 for nothing a gram at the spot, you know. Don't treat it like a beer where you're just gonna fucking whirl it around and chug it to see it, you know what I mean? You're gonna have a bad experience that way. Treat it like a cognac, treat it like a fine wine, and treat it like an experience. You know, when you pick that gram of live rosin up that costed you so much money, you should, you know, enjoy it, you know, treat yourself a little bit. So I would say blinkers and all those rushes. I'm not chugging this tequila bottle, bro. You know, it's gonna taste bad. I'm gonna get those low temp dabs out of it and enjoy it. You know,
for sure. Thank you for the clarification.
Of course, if it's disty, though, I'll blink it all the time.
So, there's a big price differences in terms of like disty pens, live resin pens, live rosin pens. Can you explain why there's that price gap in between that?
Well, I mean, they're completely different products, right? Especially when live rosin is supposed to be a cleaner, better product, which in my mind means you're doing more indoor runs, and you know, quality flower is bringing your quality rosin, material, right? But that's not always the case, you know, and a lot of times you're getting these depths being pressed through as a concentrate, because I mean, let's just be honest about it. A lot of the consumers right now, they're not true potheads from back in the day. They're people that came around when cannabis became more legal, when the shops opened up to people. So a lot of people kind of just, because it became legal, in their mind the doors opened, right? So this consumer base is just opened up wide, right? And a lot of these guys don't have the experience of like going to a shop 10 years ago where everything is pretty much gas. You know, top shelf is really top shelf. Nowadays, you can walk into so many dispensaries and see top shelf and be like, bro, what? Exotic, man. Back in the day, exotic meant it came from Jamaica or something, bro. It didn't come from Denver, bro. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? Boulder? That's not an exotic, right? Zaza, whatever these terms are nowadays. It was very different. So a lot of these guys, you can kind of fool the consumer base right now on what quality is. They don't understand that concentrate it's the same as going and getting a garlic concentrate at the vitamin shop. It doesn't mean this concentrate is actually potent and proper. It means that it's concentrated, right? And then if you're looking at like a solvent-based product, I just got to blast this with a solvent, right? And extract it, strip all these things out, and then throw some terps in on it later. It's much cheaper to go those routes than it is to sit down and fresh froze weed, process this from a shop or a farm that has been freezing it, stack these things, press it down, siphon it, going through ice machines, having this big freezer room inside of your facility. That's all running you up money. It's a more expensive endeavor to go down the live rosin route versus the disty route, right? Which I'm pretty sure it's more expensive to create a cognac or a Hennessy than it is to create a beer, right? Not that it's not hard to have this hop field and all these hops and whatnot, but this cognac might take 10 years just for me to sell it, you know?
Right. Now, are you guys making these products, or are you guys searching for these products, and are you guys sourcing these products?
So for flower, currently we are sourcing within the next, I would say about 2 years. We have we're working on building our own facility right now. That way we can do our own in-house growing. So obviously about a year or so to do construction and everything and then process all that. So we're moving toward growing everything in-house ourselves. We have actually grown a lot of our own flour in-house. More recently, we kind of pivoted to outsourcing the flour. When it comes to the rosin and our concentrates, that's all done in-house, right? So that's all our stuff, but the flour would be sourced from other farms.
So are you guys working with the manufacturing facility, or do you guys own the manufacturing facility?
Well, we have our licenses, but currently we are working with manufacturer facilities.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so as a brand, like, what are some of the things that you guys look for from a manufacturing facility or license owners? Like, what are like those terms look like that anyone that's interested in starting a brand should be aware of?
Okay, so for us that's kind of tricky. So we work with Alchemist, right? Shout out to
Alchemist,
you
right?
You got the hat on right
I'm
now.
rocking the hat,
Yeah, holding it down. So with us, we actually had for me, everything in cannabis, I was really lucky that I built a lot of good quality relationships in my life in general, especially in my family as well, right? We try to build quality relationships, and networking is kind of the key to success in pretty much any field that you go into. So when it came into cannabis, I was able to position myself in cannabis due to the relationships that were already available to me. Missed at all up until my growers to us and was like, hey, you know what? I actually work with this company. They're across the board, I like to do business with people, not entities. You know what I'm saying?
Relationship industry.
Exactly. And like what you're saying, when you come up to me and you represent the company as a salesman, I don't care what the company is. I care what you are, right? So if you come to me as a bad salesman, I will forever not like that company, right? I'm going to see you.
Going to leave a bad taste in my mouth, and I'm not going to want to try anymore.
But if you come to me in good spirits, hey, man, I might even end up with some bad deals just because your charisma and your energy was so good, right? And this guy, who knows? So to me, in all situations, that's kind of what I seek first and foremost, right? Because those good relationships will help you adjust those terms to how you need, right? I like working relationships, right? I don't mind having to pick this up a little more right now because you need it. That way, next run, maybe I get this a little bit lower here because I need it, right? Yeah. I like those types of working relationships. Everything is, I like to be paid up front and pay up front, because in this business, you got to be really, really careful with, open books or open tickets out there. People don't like to pay. And if you're working with any company like that, I would say make sure that you have a system where you're guaranteed to be able to understand how to collect your money first of all, right? And any facility that you're going to work with, that's probably the first place I would start. Make sure you understand how you're collecting your money, right? Make sure that you can ask around about these people, especially in this industry, and they pay. Right? There's no, hey, this guy owes me $5,000. I don't care how small it is, because there's big companies out there ducking $2,000 checks, and it's like, what are we doing, right? Come on, pay that, please, sir. What is going on? So, I would say that's the first thing. Do your homework. Make sure that make sure the relationship is meaningful. It's a position you want to be in, right? Yeah. Because the terms, I don't care what the terms are. If I'm gonna go ask this guy and they're like, yeah, he owes me $5,000. You know what I mean? I'm probably never going to get that money no matter what the terms are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm glad you said that. And I don't think I've ever heard a response like that in relations to, like, find out how you're going to get your money. Yeah. Because you're absolutely right. And as a brand, like, especially for brands that are not on the license or own the license, technically, it's the licenses billing other licenses for for whatever transfers are happening, right, or transactions that are happening. And so what happens is you're being distroed out of, let's just use Alchemist because it's Alchemist, right? And Alchemist sells your product to Butter, right? Butter, which is shout out Butter, shout out Scooby out of North Hollywood. Butter is gonna pay the invoice back to Alchemist,
and then you're nowhere in that equation,
right? As the brand owner, you're not in that equation. So how exactly are you gonna get that money, right?
And that's why that relationship matters, right? Knowing that this is a lot of business that you do on this end is gonna be some weird kind of handshake deal stuff. you know, and you just got to make sure that your relationships are good. That's probably one of the most important parts of the industry is your relationship. Who do you know? How do you know them, and how well do they know you? You know what I mean? What is the quality of that relationship? And that will help you in a lot of places, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that. That was a great point. Like I said, and no one's ever said that response.
I would check the books you pay, sir.
Yeah,
COD only.
That. Yeah, exactly. So, and that's probably the best way. I try to stay away from COD only because a lot of people may not learn terms. But that's what I mean by like making sure you can collect, right? Like I want that money immediately because people play too much with that front.
And people, I'll say it again, 30 days turns into 60 days,
sir.
which turns into 180, which turns into 300.
Yes, sir.
And by the end of the day, you're at 365.
Which turns into a complaining Instagram post real fast. You know.
Some professionals like to rant on Instagram, but we'll see.
Yeah. No, literally.
Man, so where do you guys see yourselves with the brand in the next, let's say, 6 months?
Well, I wanted to see, when did you go from the pens to the flower? Why'd you make that decision?
So there was never pens to flower, right? So
Okay,
I actually, before I went down the licensing route, I was kind of growing more traditionally already, and trimming and kind of on that side of things as it was. And then I realized that, like, I don't know, I'm the guy that I'm a perfectionist, and when I don't like something, I believe the way a man does one thing is the way a man does all things, right? So when I sat down and I saw, I'm complaining all the time about cannabis. These bags are coming through and people are like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Is gas, this is all. And I'm like, bro, you just started smoking like 2-3 years ago. Most of these farmers are dictated by the brokers, or dictated by a price point. And now the quality has dropped because all these brokers have came in.
Damn LCGs.
You know,
I'm
straight
still
up,
tired of that
straight up. That gelato. I don't want no gelatos. I don't want no LCGs.
It's taken the market for like 2 years, honestly.
Yeah, literally, bro. And the thing is, most of the time, you don't even know what your strains are nowadays. You know, things are mixed with mixes with mixes with mixes.
All hybrid, yeah.
I don't even care about the name of a strain anymore. It's all wild
point.
stuff, you know. And then, to be honest, a lot of these guys, they don't even know the name of what they're pushing, so they just gave it a random name like AC 170. You know what I mean? They just look around the room and find something. It's like, bro, that's gelato, but all right. So
I was working for a white label brand, and I was like, oh, what's the genetics of this? They're like, fuck if we know. We smelled the bag, said it smelled like Oreos, and then went with that. I said,
and that's the other
one. I was like,
Oreos.
Oh, that's so fucked up, man. Like, all right, whatever. It's a hybrid. Throw it on that too.
All day, right?
Yeah.
So for us, it was like we were already doing flour, but I was already kind of like, dude, I want to go legal, man. And I want to do it right. Like, I always think that if you don't, all those people are complaining, today's metal's not real metal, bro. It's like this, or it's not rock. Well, okay, stop complaining and go make real metal. Go make what you think is metal, right? Because if you make the music you love, you build it, they will come. And if you're right, then you'll bring that error back. So that's the way I was looking at it. But I'm like, how do you make that approach when these farmers are not incentivized? It's incentivized. It's not work. Small batch, big taste is the only way to do that. They have their families, and I don't have the money to just throw and be like, hey, I'm buying your whole farm, this is what we're doing no matter what, right?
It's just unrealistic.
Exactly. Right? If I was Jeff Bezos, that's what I'm doing, right? But I'm not. So then the only other way is to look at the relationships we have, and then walked in Dave Carbone, the man that actually has the heart and the soul to kind of see beyond a dollar bill and to bring a quality and an experience back that is missing, right? And he actually has the experience and knowledge of that era to do it as well. So from then, actually, the pens kind of came. The pens were the intro to the white label, but they were the second route for us as a family.
Okay,
right?
okay.
So, we just reintroduced that, and it made sense as we were doing. We need to be able to, pump revenue into the company itself to feed the beast, and flour is kind of the easier way to do that than it is. It's hard to make money on rosins because it's so expensive.
It's so hard to sell in bulk as well, right? Because you can only... people are only buying so much, right? And even the shelf life on it when you're doing bulk, like, because we were going to get into it. We were going to get into producing rosin, and we found that the process of producing it, one is very laborious, very long. It's a shitstorm in the space, right? And then becomes, all right, we're going to produce X amount, but where's the exits at now? And I don't see people buying kilos of rosin,
an eighth if you're balling,
like, but like even on the manufacturing side of things, right?
No.
Like even on As a manufacturer, people are not buying tons of rosin. They're only,
it doesn't make sense.
like, you're only going to get at most a kilo per strain because that's 1,000 grams. And that's assuming that you're a pretty decent brand. To be able, you're going to probably get 500 grams because 500 grams ends up to be about 450 units, depending on your case size. You're doing 10 to 12 in a case. So that 500 grams there turns into about, let's say, 25 cases.
Yeah.
And that already is a ton for a small brand.
Yeah. And if you think about it, man, if you want to understand like how tricky it is, even as a consumer, just walk into most of your shops and what you're going to realize is 80% of those concentrates are solvent based. They're not rosins, right? And then you're going to see 3 companies that are there at any given time. One of them is always going to be Punch, right? The other one's going to always be Rosin Tech, right? So it's not easy, but in my mind, this is going to be your loss leader, right? What do you want your loss leader to be? Just a bag of some flour? Or do you want your loss leader to be something that is like, wait, hold on, what's this? Oh, damn, this is some gas, right? Because that loss leader is going to bring, it can just be a pre-roll joint that nobody smokes because it's like sucking through a freaking McDonald's Slurpee straw anyways. Or it can be like, damn, this is a hell of a loss leader. This is a Rolex. Like, what does that say about the company? What does that say about the direction they're trying to go, right? Because it's really hard to make a quality rosin on scale and maximize your profit on it.
Yeah, and you also got to take it into retail, and they're not paying more than $20 a gram for rosin.
And the other
right
part
now.
that you brought up that was actually a really good point too. Everything you said was like very, very, very good. To y'all should peep game on those things, right? But one of the things that I did at the very intro of building the brand and trying to understand the atmosphere of cannabis from the retail and from the consumer perspective was I hit every single shop in the valley. And I tried to see what every single shop was doing. And then I moved to downtown LA. And then some of the guys on the team hit San Diego and then San Bernardino, et cetera, right? So we're really trying to ourselves from a macro and a micro get a real hands-on understanding of the atmosphere. For me, what I took away from most of that is most of these shops, even the bud tenders, man, you're 100% right when you say that is the gatekeeper for you, right?
For sure.
Most people ignore the security, they ignore the valet, and man, you're dumb for that because they hold the keys to the city. Anywhere you walk, you want to understand who the CEO is. You want to matter. You talk to those people. You make security and you make valet your friend. And I promise 100%. You will be the guy in that room no matter what.
I'm always friends with the security guard, no matter what venue. Yeah. How you doing, bro? How's your night?
I mean, think about it. Everybody walks to those 2 men, and everybody that matters goes to valet. So when you walk up to them and you're showing them love, and like, hey, you got that cannabis brand, bro? Hey, these guys just walked in right here. You should go talk to them, right? So that love, it's the same thing on that end. For your bud tenders, that is the equivalent in the cannabis world, right? So when I'm talking to these cats, what I try to do is figure out who's the most educated in this room, because what I realize is even on bud tenders, most are not educated on rosins. It's a trip.
Every shop I say has like one person who's really educated and passionate and only smokes rosin, but they're not snobby.
Yep.
But I say that's, and then the other person is, I'm snobby, but I don't know shit.
Thank you, bro. And it's like, first of all, you're showing me a diamond sugar, bro. I asked for a live rosin. Like, what are we doing? And that is actually a nail on the head. There's one person typically, and you got to find that one person. So the first thing I'll be like, they ask you, what are you looking for? To be honest, man, I smoke a lot of the same stuff. I don't even talk about being a brand. I'm looking for something new. I just want to pick the brain and see what, how do you work? How are you moving? Because when I open up a dab bar, an event I go, I want that guy that's sparked up, right? I want to pay him to come and represent and to educate and be at the dab bar, because education is one of the pillars of our company as well. And it's kind of one of the things, all companies live and die off of communication, right? We know that effective communication is the best way to actually move as a unit. But then when it comes to education, if you can't even educate, you can't start to communicate, right? What am I communicating is what you don't know on this end of it. And the question I never want to ask is why should I buy your brand over Jeter's, over Stizzy or something? I want the question to be, where do I buy your brand? Which is why the first run that I came out with, I didn't sell a penny of it. I gave all of it away. Everything was promoted away to give away. Because if you're confident in the product, I don't need to sell it to you right away. I just need to put it in your hand so you can be like, man, this is gas. Like, where do I get this, right? And then come to me for that.
That makes sense now.
You know what I mean? So it's all off organic growth, man, and seeing a hole in the market, not because something was missing, but because something was taken, right? And bringing that quality and bringing that heart and soul back to the food, you know what I mean? Instead of everything is McDonald's, I'm trying to bring the soul food back and put that heart back into it real quick. And there's a whole demographic of cannabis smokers that are jaded. You know, they're like, man, Remember when I used to go get Skywalker OG? I hear Skywalker nowadays. I'm like, you guys have no clue what Skywalker is, dog. Why are you naming that's so terrible to name this threat? And then there's a whole demographic of people that don't even know what that ever looked like.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a good pool that you can hit right now, but I think anybody that's trying to hit it, just be prepared to pay up front and collect on the back end, because it's going to be like the restaurant business for you, bro. You're not making money on year one.
Yeah,
Or maybe year 2.
Probably not year 2.
Past year 3, but we getting there.
I'm just trying not to scare him on that.
Well, I mean, you said a scary thing. The first batch, it was all free. It was all giveaways. I tell every store, whatever you put in your first order, half a pound, you better send in that other half, because you're going to do BOGOs. Then you're going to send in another half because you're going to give it to the bud tenders.
Yep.
And then you're going to give them another half because fucking they need promos to sell the promo.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
And the promo, and don't change the price of the standard order, because then by doing that, now you've just established that you're going to give price breaks.
Yep.
So don't change your price, just give more promo.
Agreed.
That is game for you
because product
guys.
is there for everyone. Like one thing all brands say is, I got hella product, I don't got hella money.
Yeah.
So So
Yeah.
give me my money and I'll give you the product.
Yeah, no, that's the thing,
That's the
bro.
reality.
Like marketing, dog. Like that's you're marketing your brand in that moment, right? You're just you're marketing to the best, and that's kind of the plus on it. That, you know what, I might not make the back end on the money right here, but I'm dumping all this profit into marketing to expand the brand, right?
And we can't run Instagram ads as a cannabis company,
Good,
so
bro.
might as well spend that money on the bud tenders or spend
yeah.
that money on consumers, people who shop at
That's a
dispensaries.
good point of view, because I don't know if anyone's ever even put it in that frame, like, of you're giving these units out as this like
It's your budget. Yeah,
Your marketing expense,
you can't do any other type of marketing, so let this be your marketing. I don't think I've ever heard people really frame it in that way to make it make sense for people, because when people think of, I have to give this away, in their mind that's probably
loss.
triggering, it's a loss.
Yeah, it's not.
And so for you, it's not.
Not at
it's
all.
not a loss.
Not at all.
Especially right now that we can't do these marketing deals. We can't advertise as freely as we would like with any other product outside of cannabis.
No, 100%. And to be honest, like it's the best marketing you can do, because the point of marketing is to display something in front of you that is going to incentivize you to go buy and try this thing, right? So I can skip all those TV screens and all those call now and by just putting it in your hand. Yeah. Right. And people love free shit. And the reality of it is, like, I have the Instagram handle. You could be like, oh, give me a follow for a joint. No, just give it away. Because the reality of it is 10% of the people you give free product to are going to follow you. Are going to enough of these things away through passing out. And then people just lay them on the street somewhere. They're still being seen. You know what I mean? Somebody's still picking this up. I've picked up plenty of random things on the ground, like, oh, that's a Jeter's part. That's crazy. And then just toss it, right? This one right there. Look at this weed
look
right
at this
here.
shit in the trash.
Right?
Jeeters? Fuck.
Nah,
I'll put it
man.
right back where I found it.
If it was up to me, bro, and I could have like 6 big old boxes full of teas and product like that, I'd fly a helicopter over LA and just dump it out randomly on the street. Just dump it all over the city and let it fall where it falls, right? Because at the end of the day, I just need this not in a shop. I need it in your hand, in your house, in your backpack, in your car. Right, I just need it visible, and you know, you work with a lot of celebrities and stuff like that. Most of them, they're after the check, free stuff, but they have boxes of product in their room, and then their homeboy has it, and then the sound engineer is like, hey, you know what? Let me smoke one real quick. Like, damn, this was gas. And now there's so many ways to get back into those doors, but you got to spread yourself out there. You got to, like you said, build a community, right? Like one of our pillars is culture, right? That's why the HAYDAR thing matters. It's culture. If I don't build the culture and then leave the culture and then rejoin it as a member, I can't be the culture. You know what I mean? I have to establish it and then let it go to other people. So the job is to spread it, right? To establish the culture, see what it is, let them know what the brand is, what the brand meaning is, the quality, and then let them run with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that will organically grow.
I had a really bad idea. It's great in theory, but it's a bad idea.
While he's smiling,
of
really
giving
good.
it, because I still want to do it. Someone can do this. But take all your old merchandise, anything that you're like, fuck, you know, you said just throw it on the streets, but specifically go outreach to homeless people.
Oh, man. You know
I
what?
donated a stupid amount of shit to Goodwill, and then I saw no shit 20 homeless people rocking my
Yeah.
old dispensary shirt just on the street. My boss was like, "You see that homeless person?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Bro, I just went to Goodwill 2 days ago. Like, they got that shit out."
Hey, you
So,
know what's funny
something I
about
still want to
that?
do. But,
No, and you
but
should.
who
and
wants
it's-
a bunch of homeless people like repping their brand? You know, it's a give and take. But like,
Bro,
we talk about eyes, we're talking about shit on the ground.
It's not
so,
a give and take.
hey.
That is a moving billboard, bro.
Yeah,
that
that's how
guy,
it is.
yeah, he gonna be in Skid Row and in Tennessee the next day.
He'll be chilling, smoking a joint,
Yeah,
like
Tennessee
oh,
the
Hey, stay off the train, bro. Okay, that is your best moving billboard right there. No,
Just pass out flags so they can put it in the encampments everywhere.
no, just build tents with it, bro. At that point, pass the tents
Just
out.
give him a bunch of
No, that's a good point. And you know what's funny? So before I did this, I opened up a few different companies, right? I've done the family business forever has been construction since I was like, maybe 14. At 18, I opened up a business with my pops as well. And then by about 24, 25, I opened up so I do MMA and Muay Thai. And then I'm a jiu-jitsu coach, right? So a lot of the guys that I train with, we fight. And then when we fight, we have to get our shorts, we have to get new brands, whoever's, sponsoring us on there. So I was like, you know what? I can just, cut the middleman. I'll buy a heat press machine and I'll press everything out for the fighters. Now, one of our main fighters, he started this thing called the Love Movement, LOV, right? His name is Jordan the Messiah. He's a beautiful soul, man. So he started off by just passing out clothes and pizzas and waters on Skid Row. That developed into him asking other people to join. And the next thing you know, you have 20 or 30 people out there doing it with him. Then he went to Kenya, did it in Kenya. He went over there. The next trip was to clean the water up. Then he opened up a school. Then he opened up a gym out there. Then he started training out the military out there.
Yeah, see what he's the Messiah.
He's the Messiah, right? Yeah, Jordan is nothing. It's his whole like quote thing, right? But this man, that's how he started, right? Now, for me, when I opened up that shirt press, I was like, you know what, bro? If I could, I would love my first run to be, I'm going to go buy everything. I'll do it for you off the love. Let me make all of your shirts that you're going to pass out, right? And then just pass out Love Movement. And I just put my QR on the bottom for the company on the little tag, right?
Yeah.
And dude, that thing just spread like wildfire, dog.
You know what we're gonna do too, babe? Just with that, we're gonna clip out like your testimony on the brand, and we're gonna clip it and we'll put that on a QR code.
Oh, that's hard.
So that then you can put it on the back. So now your episode will be on every packaging.
Oh,
and now
that
someone
would
gets to
be,
see the person behind the brand.
I would appreciate
And
that.
listen.
That
So
would be
we'll
amazing.
clip that and we'll put that for you, so then you can have Alchemist put on that, or maybe when you make your next run, you'll add that to the QR code.
Oh yeah,
you'll add the
like a
little
little
clip.
option.
To the
no,
QR code.
I love that. I would really love that and appreciate that, man. That's a beautiful idea. Off the fly too. Damn, bro. Yeah, y'all don't know. You're getting tons of free game right here when you tap in with these dudes, man.
We're trying.
Come on
Man. That's
in.
the
Come
point
on
of the
show.
That's the point of the show.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we want. Like, we want people that look like us having this conversation and have that representation. Like, we are in the leadership roles. People just don't see it, and we are having these conversations, right?
Yeah.
And that's the main focus for this show.
It's the real
Straight up.
moving gears behind the clock, and people are just used to seeing the time and what's in front of them, but everything that happens behind the scenes, and that's why, like us, for example, and not to like segue, but that's why it's a really important thing for us to be identified as the name is a Middle Eastern name, right? But the brand, we're very clear that we're a Latin-owned brand, right? But it's everybody's invited to the carne asada, right? So like, I don't care if you're black, Asian, this, that. If you look at the page, we do a lot of promo for other ethnic members, right? So a lot of our I guess you could say aesthetic when it comes to the social media is kind of taking a piece from the Modelo route, where we're kind of interviewing lifestyles and seeing how lifestyles kind of blend with our own. We have a few different interviews with people we've done there. We've captured there's this Filipino really big R&B DJ that we have a good relationship with. And we have a clip with him doing his thing, right? And it's always looking at these ethnic people that are on the rise right now. They're doing their own thing. They're doing for their own people with the right reasons. As Latinos, especially in California, we make up, I think it's like 80-something% of the of like the buying power out here, bro. We're most of pretty much every industry, but we're constantly from seed to sale, right? But we're constantly, partly because of our own culture and how we're keep our heads down, don't cause a mess, and that's something that we talk a lot about on American Cholo, right? But that a lot of people don't even realize how important we are, especially in cannabis. The only thing we don't really fill is that CEO seat, and we're every other position than that. So when it came to HAYDAR, I wanted to make sure that we established everything organically. We let everybody know this is not just a Latin thing at all. So don't be intimidated, right? In fact, I would love to uplift your people and your thing if you're doing something for those reasons, right? I would love to give you a platform the same way. But don't also get it confused. This is a placement for Latinos to have something too. Right.
Yeah.
This is for us to sit down and say, we are cannabis as well. We are in this as well. We're in the fields. We're in every aspect of this. And also we make up a lot of the buying power in here. So I think that we need a mic of our own in a way. Right. And it's a perfect era for it right now.
Facts.
But, yeah.
Yeah, man. No, thank you for saying that and for sharing that and for inviting folks to be a part of that and a part of your movement as well, because that's definitely important. And we bring it up all the time that we are in every space, but the leadership space.
Exactly.
But there are a few of us that are in that space, right? There's a lot. There's a good amount. There's a good amount. People don't know or have that conversation, and so we want to be able to highlight that.
Yeah. No, and that's a good point. There's in plenty of realms. We're there in plenty of realms, and I don't know if that goes back to the cultural thing of us just not trying to be too loud. And being a more, let's not rattle things up like hornet's nest type thing, or if that's just a intentional suppression of certain things. But I want to make sure that on this side, on this story, it is very clearly said as part of the narrative, right? It is very clearly established that way. Whatever the issue is, it's not going to be a shame on them for not telling the story. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But
dope.
Yeah, it matters.
Where do you guys see yourself in the next 6 months to a year? Because that's a life in the cannabis world.
Yeah, it is, man. But I like to think of it. I don't like to think the same way. I like to be rational about the cannabis world, and then I like to be a dreamer about the direction that I flow in, right, when it comes to the brand. Because I don't want to be influenced by the quick, cutthroat pace of cannabis, because it is, right? And then I'm going to start making decisions based off that pace, and fall back into that place where it goes away from the vision, right? But in the next 6 months, what I see is that you're going to see a very new branding, and that's the reason why this run is going on, is to kind of pump up some more attention on it. Just before I'm actually privileged to work with the guy that made all the branding and logos for Disney, Nickelodeon, a bunch of really big companies, and he's currently working on mine. So in the next 6 months, I want to have an entire new branding done, new release out there. I would like to throw a little party, something kind of popping, ideally at Lemonade. It's a good dispensary that we have a good relationship with, or one of the relationships we have, but in the next year, I would like to be having a big HAYDAR building with a big HAYDAR billboard right there on Canoga and Roscoe, where everybody can see and come and tap in and start to see what we're about, flesh and blood, in our own dispensary, in our own shop, in our own workspace. But I would like for the brand to be built in such a way that there's not too many changes on who we are and how we identify in 6 months or 10 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to be very consistent on things. And I would like the only thing to change on us is basically moving at the pace of the market, but us as a people, we stay fairly consistent in what we believe in.
Nice. Is there any shout outs that you'd like to give?
Oh, man, too many. And see, I hate that because then I'm going to miss somebody and they're going to hit me up later mad. Yeah, man. I mean, first and foremost, obviously Dave Carbone, right, at Rosin Technology, not to be confused with Rosin Tech. Please don't do that because there's some crazy stories behind that. But Dave Carbone, right, is, and I'm pretty sure you know how those cannabis stories go, right? Dave Carbone is first and foremost, man. That guy is he's a beautiful mind. He's definitely got a lot to offer, and he's definitely a cornerstone in this industry that a lot of people don't even know about. My boy Flo, of course, right, because he's Dr. Green Thumbs with us. My team in general, my pops, who really had the belief and fuel behind me to allow me to kind of run in a direction. And
we gotta have your pops here too to like really share with us not only the peen story, but
I was gonna say I'm definitely interested.
But
see where that came from.
But the transition and like why. Like, what was the reasoning behind his transition in mindset?
He saw it started making money.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, how much money? Because I've asked my parents for certain things.
Not
like
enough for that trauma to be good. No, my bad. Not to cut you off. You're saying with your parents.
No, I was just saying. I've gone up to my parents asking like, okay, if I do this, what's a number that I got to get to for you to be like, all right, you know what you're doing, or like, all right, this is cool. So like with your pops, like how much? I don't want to know right now, but I'm saying it's like how much you want to know for him to be like, all right, you started making the right.
That's
money,
actually a good question, and I haven't even asked that. But that is a good question, and that would be interesting. Yeah, please. I'm gonna have him come with a jar of weed that has been peed in.
There you go.
Just a gram though. Just a gram.
Please, and just a twinkle, sir.
Add some moisture.
Yeah, literally. And that, and just, I mean, to be honest, like a bunch of y'all for even putting me up on here and giving me this space to sit down and speak, right? I love seeing these types of environments. And these types of environments existing, they really matter for an industry that is kind of built and saturated off so much fake hype and crap like that, right? So shout out to anybody like y'all that are sitting here doing this thing. American Cholo, of course, pretty much Alchemist, of course, right? I'm in a lucky position where everybody that I deal with are people worth giving them their flowers and their space in a room. Mm-hmm. And so pretty much everybody that I...
And shout out your show, bro. The show that you guys are on every Wednesday night, right?
Yeah, thank you. The what's the word? Every Wednesday at 6 p.m. right here on American Cholo. Both of them platforms, man, they're beautiful spaces, beautiful places to get... I love American Cholo because the aesthetic is something that you may not... think that we're going to speak on the things that we speak on, that we think the way we think, right? And it kind of helps build bridges between worlds that you wouldn't even seen a bridge there, so anybody moving authentically right there, organically right there, if you move off the pillars of the brand, man, that's why it's there. You deserve that shout out. It's nothing but love, positivity, and that's pretty much the way we move,
Yeah. For sure. And shout out to you, Gil, again, for always giving us the space to be able to do so. And I recently, I've been watching a lot of his stuff. AC Nation.
Big AC.
Right? Big AC Nation as well. So shout out to everyone that's tuning in.
Shout out Chris.
Yeah.
Shout out Chris behind the scenes. My man is doing big things in the cannabis space as well.
Yeah, he's out here now.
Sheesh. And we're going to get that. We're gonna get those stories soon. So... that's going to be coming up, man. Steven, you got any other shout-outs you want to?
I got a shout-out for you for rocking that Plus hoodie. I just saw that right now. I didn't realize that.
That's right.
Shout out my wife, my daughter, and shout out every entrepreneur that's still pushing through 420. And, all the blunt smokers. Shout out them.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Backwoods smokers, too. Don't leave them out.
And for myself, shout out my girls as always, Dalia, Faith, Rosie. I love you girls. And with that being said, again, make sure to tune in. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at CED_connects. Like, subscribe to American Cholo channel here. Check out HAYDAR Extracts. Make sure to follow them. Check out Butter. And with that, guys, we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.
We're out.
Woo, woo.